Okay, good morning and welcome to Iyun HaMishna. Today we're going to be discussing Pesachas Terumos Periches Mishnah Yud Aleph. In contradistinction to Mishnah Yud and Mishnah Tes, we have an interesting halacha over here. If you're walking on the road, either you're a Kohen or Yisrael, and you have 10 loaves of Truma bread, and the goy comes and he puts a gun to your head and he says, listen, either you give one to me, and I'll be matame, usually goyim are tmeim, or if you don't give it to me, biyadai, you don't put it in my hands, so then I'll go and I'll take all of the truma and make it tameh. I'll go into your bag and make all of the tameh. So you're stuck now. If you give it to him, so mishmeres trumas, you're not supposed to matame biyadai. But if you don't give it to him, you act passively over here. You're gonna lose money. You're gonna be mafsid money. You're mafsid 9 loaves of bread. What do? The legend says you can't do it. You can't give it to him, and we're gonna see you can't even leave it on a rock, right? A compromise. You can't even leave it on a rock. Because again, you have to be shomer the truma. I have to make sure it doesn't become. Do everything in my possibility. Even putting a rock in front of a goy is a lacking in my shmira. Like when you're a shomer chino, you do pshia. That's a form of pshia. Putting it in front of him, that's pshia. No more pshia, greater pshia than that. You're not being shomer the truma. That's lashon of the Torah. Mishmeres trumasi. And Rabbi Shua argues. Shua says you can't give it to him directly because that's called matam biyadayim. But you could put it on a rock and they'll take it, and it makes sense to do this because you're saving 9 loaves of bread for a kohen to have said mamon. So this is distinction to Mishnah Yud and Mishnah Tet, where Rabbi Shua actually allows you to matame the shemen shel truma or the yayin shel truma. If you can't save with kalim tahorim or revius, you're not going to be able to save a substantial amount. You can even be matame, catch the yayin and the shemen in kalim tmeim, which is being matame directly biyadayim when it falls into the kalim. You're being matame biyadayim. Why we're there is allow you to matame biyadayim. We said in those cases half maruba, you're losing a lot of money. Here doesn't allow you to do that. Only groma he allows you to do it, to be gorim, right? To cause the goy to touch it, but to put it in his hands, he can't do it. What's the difference? So as I mentioned over the case, and we brought out today in Mishnah Yud, that the heter Rabbi Shua only is in a case where there's hefsid maruba. You can lose a lot, right? We're talking about commercial wine presses over here, commercial olive presses, olive oil presses. So you're losing a lot. It's commercially. It's a lot of money. So when it's hefsid maruba, we explained yesterday that we're dealing with the value of the truma. So I explained yesterday that really, according to Rabbi Yeshua, it's not like any isser in the Torah, truma. Really, it's categorized by the dinei mamonos over here. That the basis of the isser of being shomer the truma is to ensure that the kohen has a lot of money, has truma to sustain himself and his family. So when is a lot of money going to be lost? We allow you to matame biyadayim, Rabbi Yeshua says, because Hashem have said mama. Now, when it comes to the kohen, right, we mentioned that truma belongs both to Hashem and it belongs to the kohen. It belongs to the kohen, the guf, the shel lo belongs to the kohen, but the reshuso, the value, belongs to Hashem. So Hashem also could waive that hefsid meruba. Torah chas al manon shal Yisrael. When there's hefsid meruba, a big loss of money, Hashem says the dinei mamonos is important over here, and it's right, and that's what governs over here. And you could even matam miyadayim. Over here in the second case, over in Makom Mishnah Yud Aleph, he has 10 loaves of bread. This is not a commercial. This is personal stash of bread. There's not so much bread involved. So it's hefsid muat. So a hefsid muat, you can't be matam miyadayim because Hashem says, listen, I care. I commanded you, mishmeres trumasi, that you have to be shomer the truma from becoming tameh. Part of the reason is because Hashem doesn't want the kohen to lose money. Now here, it makes sense that you should give it to him, but we don't always know Hashem's cheshbonos over here. If the hefsid muat, right? We don't know if Hashem would want you to do it or not. We don't know what's more precious to Hashem or not. That his truma shouldn't become a tummy. So there's no hefsid muat like what you explained in Mishnah Yud. Rishua is modeh by the shemen, right? If shemen is falling into the bore, into the pit, it's not being absorbed in the ground. Then Rabbi Yeshua is modeh hefsid muat. It's only hefsid muat because you can burn the shemen tachas tav shilo. So it's only hefsid muat. So he's modeh over there. Even though you're going to lose money, still Hashem doesn't want you to matame it. Here, when it's a hefsid muat, the Mishnah Yud Aleph, you're only losing 10 loaves of bread. It's not so much bread. So therefore, you're allowed to do, there's a pshar, you're allowed to do groma. Now, groma, I asked someone outside yesterday, today, a couple of minutes ago, about the isser of groma ben Ezekiel. And the Gemara says groma ben Ezekiel is pater, that if you cause someone who has hezek, but you don't do it directly, you're pater. Is there an isser to be mazik something in the Torah? So a lot of Mefarshim say, yeah, there's no explicit isser. If I go and slash someone's tires, is I violate an isser in the Torah? If I steal something from someone, I violate isser in the Torah. It slashes tires. It doesn't say I violate isser in the Torah. Do I have to pay him back? Yeah, I have to pay him back. Tashlum, chayav tashlum, and mitzvah, a priyas balchov mitzvah. Where is the mitzvah from? I don't know. You have to pay him back. You have to pay back whatever chov was you want. To create that chov, it's not. I argue it's not necessarily an issur in the Torah because think about it, right? You have I have these AirPods that I wear. I would love it if someone goes and mazik my AirPods, and buy me a new one. Buy me a new one, First of all, when you buy something new and you use it a couple times, you lose half the value. Plus, my AirPods after a year and a half, are not working so well anymore. I'd love a new pair. Mazik, right? It's the beneficial of the person you're in nizak. As long as you pay him back, which was the mitzvah to do, so it's not such a bad thing to be mazik. Who says it's usher to be mazik someone's stuff? I don't know if it's usher to be mazik someone's stuff. But in terms of grumma ben ezikin, right? So here it's grumma ben ezikin is potter. So first of all, there's no isser in the Torah. By Hashem, there's no isser. So even though it's hefsed muat, and we said by hefsed muat, maybe Hashem, says, you know what? You're not allowed to matame the truma for hefsed muat. You're not allowed to. That's Hashem's cheshbon. He says, I don't want you. The shavius, the value is in Hashem. Don't be mazik. But if you do grumma, first of all, mazik is not an isser in the Torah, and grumma and ezekin is pater. There's no dinim mamas. You're not chayim dinim mamas. So therefore, you didn't do anything wrong according to Rabbi Yeshua. Grumma and ezekin is pater. There's no isser in mazik something in the Torah. So who cares? So therefore, let the guy matame. You're not doing anything. You're not violating your shimur and the truma by doing grumma. Obviously, Relezer holds you are violating your shimur. We'll have to discuss that at a different time. But that's not halacha. Halacha is Rabbi Yeshua. Grumma mezikin is pater. There's no isser to be mazik something, and grumma mezikin you don't have to pay back. So everything is good, and that's why he allows you to put it on the rock, but not to give it to them directly. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you tomorrow.